Welcome to Sharing Success from JSA. For over 50 years, we've helped agents and brokers compete and win at the highest level. Now we're taking it further, bringing you the strategies, insights, and conversations driving real growth in today's market. This is your blueprint for success. This is Sharing Success Together.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Chris Hagerstrom here with JSA, and welcome to our next episode of our Sharing Success podcast. I am pleased to introduce our guest for the day, Mr. Ryan Murchie, owner of RMA, one of our FMO partners out of Colorado. And we've got a great story to tell today, talking about Ryan, his agency, where he came from, and how things are looking for the future. So Ryan, welcome. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. This is a great opportunity.
We've known ourselves for, we did the math this morning, 17 years that you've been in the insurance industry.
Yeah, we met in 2009.
We met in 2009, 2009. In the cubicles of JSA's office in Fort Myers. So it's been quite a journey for you to get to where you are today. And just a little bit, we'll dig in a little bit more to Ryan's background, but just so our audience knows, tell a little bit about yourself.
Ryan Murchie, own and operate a field marketing organization out of Denver, Colorado. We have grown obviously into additional markets as well. We have distribution across about 6 or 7 states now. I launched that company in 2009 after separating from full-time employment with JSA on great terms. I mean, it worked out perfectly.
Yep.
They really set me up for success there in 2019, and I took it and we ran with it. And now we have one of the fastest growing family-owned and operated field marketing organizations in the country. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah, it's been awesome to watch your journey over the years. And you know, back in the day of working the cubicles at JSA. And
you sat right behind me, so you'd just throw crap at me.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, it was, it's interesting to think about like the history of where we all came from, because you certainly didn't think that you were going to be in insurance growing up. And I certainly didn't think I was going to be in insurance growing up and doing what we're doing today. But here we are.
No, when I found you guys, I mean, I remember, I was going to school to be a civil engineer, and I was living, I had moved out, so I had an apartment, and I didn't want to have to end up back at Ma's house. And so I just applied off Craigslist, every sales job there was in Fort Myers, because they had, it was 2009.
Yep.
I was selling motorcycles and Sea-Doo Watercraft at the time. They closed that dealership because banks weren't financing toys in 2009, if you can remember.
Yep.
And so I took that opportunity to find a new sales gig. And then applied off Craigslist, and I walked into JSA's office, and I'm like, I remember talking to Jeanette and Michael at the time.
Yep.
And said, will you guys please hire me? Because the office was so nice. I hadn't seen anything like it yet in all my interviews.
Right.
So, and they did.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. One of the best hires we ever had at JSA. It was, and I tell you, when the day that you left, it was when I knew you were going to go off and do your own thing. It was a sad day for us, knowing that you were leaving.
Yeah. But it ended up working out. I didn't actually go anywhere. I'm still around, and now you guys get to just wine and dine me and bring me up to Wisconsin, Green Bay to talk on podcasts and play golf, and it's pretty incredible. I love it.
So it's thinking back to like the early days of working at JSA, and working with agents and carriers across the country, and helping agents themselves find success in the senior market. Like, this was back in 2009, 2010, 2011. Like, what was your opinion of the senior market at that time?
Well, I mean, it was chaotic.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, because Medicare Advantage was still relatively new. When I first started, really, I was just strictly focused on Med Sup there for a short time. But what I really saw, and I grew up in the construction industry. My father was always a construction business owner, and I saw, economic downturns significantly impact our business, significantly impact the business. And I was just thinking, I'm like, what is pandemic proof? What is not pandemic? We experienced that.
Right.
I wasn't thinking that back in 2009.
No, nobody was.
But what's recession proof? What's everything proof? I mean, no matter what's going on in the world, people still need insurance.
Yep.
And they still need quality professional individuals to explain it to them. It's a whole different language.
Yep.
And, my biggest draw was, working with independent professionals, working with people and helping them build their companies. That was super fun for me, and being the guy they relied on, being their point of contact and and actually helping them achieve those goals. So
Mhm.
that was incredible to see. And then, after spending so much time on the phone with individuals and watching them succeed and do well, then we would see them on our sales trips.
Yep.
And we'd get to meet them in person. I mean, it was a really, really incredible experience. And again, it's one of those things where no matter what, people need insurance.
Yes.
And they need trusted, quality salespeople to explain it to them.
Mhm.
I mean, no matter how good technology gets, no matter what the economic situation is,
Mhm.
no matter what's going on in the world, people in the United States are going to need insurance, and
Yep.
they're going to need us to explain it to them. So
Yeah, it's funny too. You mentioned technology and everyone talks about AI and things like that. And it's like you go onto ChatGPT and ask it a Medicare question.
exactly.
And it's not there. And I don't think it's ever going to be there, but you're right. It's that personal touch that agents have with their clients. That's really a big driver in the success of the agencies that we work with. And in the success of your agency as well. And so as you were working with these agencies, you were seeing the successes that they were doing. Like what kind of, were there thoughts early on, before you went independent and started your own agency that this might be something that you're interested in?
Well, early on, I mean, I remember we were kids.
I know, right? Yeah.
We had a little fraternity house there in Fort Myers, Florida for many years. JSA owned hotels and
Yep.
And man, that was a ton of fun. But as I grew up in the industry and I got a little older and I spent some time traveling the country and going out to LA for a few years
Mhm.
and going out to Denver and actually running my own office, I saw the opportunity.
Yeah.
But honestly, I still am. Was incredibly loyal to the Schrader family.
Mhm.
And so really, I wasn't looking for my own opportunity. I wanted to help continue to build theirs.
Mhm.
But when I was given the opportunity to build my own,
Yep.
Man, did it click for me.
Yeah. Did you have it? Were there any hesitations for you, like ultimately making the decision to say, yeah, I can do this?
Oh, well, yeah, there was a big hesitation. I mean, my wife at the time, we had a 1-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife at the time was pregnant with our second child. And so, obviously the opportunity was to launch my own business. But at that point in time in my life, having steady income to support my family,
Right.
especially the new child coming along. But no, my wife was if it wasn't for Brenna and my wife, having a conversation with her when the opportunity arose, obviously I could have went and took a 6-figure job at an insurance carrier.
Mm-hmm.
I could have went to go work for a different FMO. I could have probably made more than when I left JSA, taking a different position. But yeah, when I sat down and we had that discussion, Brenna and I, she made it actually possible.
Yeah.
I remember we had that discussion and it happened on a Friday. The opportunity was given and the office was closed. The Colorado office for JSA was closed and the opportunity was given on a Friday. And by Monday, she had my company completely branded. And I remember, I'm like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah, right. You're like, we could do this. We can absolutely do this.
We can absolutely do this. Yeah.
Nice.
And so we pushed through and luckily that first year, I was able to really have some quality recruitment.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the right place at the right time. United Healthcare just went through a big ICA dump.
Yep.
They washed out a lot of their older ICA team. And so we were able to pick up a bunch of new agents there. And so we tripled our production just in that first 9-month period. I remember Brian telling me like, we would have never closed the office if you would have did that. I'm like, well, all I needed was my wings, I guess. Here we go.
Right. Yeah, right. Let the baby bird fly.
Yeah. I finally got a chance to spread my wings, and you saw the growth that occurred, and and I did. I took that and I ran with it, and then 2020 happened.
Yeah. How was that for you guys?
Well, it was actually really funny because I was probably remember I just had my second baby. Brenna was postpartum. And we had two young kids under 2 and COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
We were usually I'm out shaking hands, kissing babies at carrier events, meeting agents for coffee. I was always out in the field. And 2020 happened. And I just remember like, oh shoot, I'm stuck in the house.
I know.
Oh shoot. Oh shoot.
I'm trapped here. What do you mean?
Oh shoot.
I can't leave.
And so, it was funny. I remember I was shopping for commercial real estate in 2020 and I was the only one, the real estate agents, wouldn't even meet me at the office buildings. They would just unlock the door and say, hey, the door's unlocked. Let us know when you're done. We'll come relock it. And so I was out shopping for commercial real estate and actually, looking to grow my company at that time. And I remember opening that office and getting into an office to where, it's my company logo on the outside of the door. And we really just took it and ran with it. And obviously in 2020 we had struggles. So, one of the biggest things I always do is live in-person agent training. It's one of my biggest part of my value propositions is I'm going to get you in a room. I'm going to show you how to do this. And I'm going to introduce you to people that are going to help you as well. It's not just me. I'm going to show you the team of people you're going to be able to rely on here in the local market. And obviously we weren't able to do that. And so we converted to do all the stuff online, the WebEx, and we learned all that because we were forced to before. It is what it is. If I recorded a video on my phone and put it on the Facebook, that was like the big deal. That was a big deal.
Right.
I was like, oh, wow, I actually created some online content.
It's getting views. This is amazing.
This is really cool. And then 2020 hit and it's like, oh, we all have to figure this out. And we did, and we adapted and we had a ton of agents that were involved in community relationships that were kind of, pulled back a little bit, but also it created new opportunities too. And so, yes, it was a struggle, and yes, it did stunt our growth a little bit because we weren't able to do our traditional field recruitment events and things of that nature. But we didn't let it slow us down.
No. Even from a production standpoint, how'd your agents fare during the pandemic?
Our agents did excellent in the pandemic. At least the agents that were engaged and involved in the community, because people, during that time were starved for local help,
right?
Because there's a lot of people that were scared to leave their house, and granted, warranted. There's a lot of people scared to leave their house. So the folks that were actually out in the field and creating those relationships, man, did they clean up? Because they didn't. The competition was slim at that time.
Exactly.
And so the folks that were motivated and in the field and really going and getting it and working with the provider groups, we had agents in doctors' offices all through COVID.
Really?
Yeah.
And there wasn't an issue at all?
They were in the waiting room. They had their plastic barrier up at their table and their N95 masks. And, hey, we made it work. So you can't, that's the type of stuff, like when stuff like that happens, if you let it slow you down, it absolutely will. If it scares you and you stay on your couch, your company's going to shrink. But if you go against the grain and you get out there and you absolutely, drive, then you're going to see more opportunity than you would have.
Yeah.
So
you got to get out there. You got
the folks that take that adversity and just and crash through it. Man, did they have a good year?
Well, I've heard this before, and I've said it to people, and I've heard other people say it, and I want to get your take on it. But anytime there is a quote unquote challenge in our industry, what is it? What does that actually mean?
Opportunity.
It means an opportunity.
100%.
100%. Every time there's been a challenge in the marketplace, it's been an opportunity.
Because
so
50% of your competition's busy complaining about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if you just keep your eye on the prize, things will work out for you. That's kind of been the history of Medicare for years. And when Medicare Advantage and Part D came out in 2006 and into 2007, it was like, oh, we're never going to sell these products. I can't sell a policy for zero premium? What do you mean?
And then the applications were stacked to the ceiling. And then changes happened to compliance. And what do you mean I need to get a scope of appointment form? And then, business doubled that year. Yeah. So anytime there's a challenge in the industry, it's definitely an opportunity. But outside of COVID, what other challenges have you guys seen? Like, have you seen any other big challenges that you had to deal with? Well, obviously we got the big PPO exodus going on. And so that was a good sized challenge. And, but that was one thing that I always I've always coached on, like, hey, Medicare Advantage is specifically designed to be a coordinated care. Insurance company has a hands-on approach. So we never had the majority of our book was never PPO, because we actually trained agents on HMO, the value of actual coordinated care and your providers actually talking to each other. So our broker partners really truly understand the value of HMO and coordinated care and how that works and all that stuff. So we never had this massive book of just PPO business. And I know some agencies really, really got hit with that because they were like, just write PPO if you don't write MedSup, and that was never the approach we took.
No.
It's like Medicare Advantage is a coordinated care HMO structured model.
Yep.
If the insurance companies are able to control cost by, the provider network, then you're going to have much more stable programs long term, especially now with our star ratings and everything else. So we that absolutely is a big hurdle, and we're still seeing that reset in the market, where we're going back to the HMO type of model. But as far as true struggles go, staffing Staffing is a real struggle, because it's, as your company grows, individuals' roles will change within the company as well.
Yep.
When I was a small company and we were doing $250,000 in annual revenue, and I had 2 staff members, well, it was really easy for everybody to be able to manage everything and not worry about it. And, hey, the phones rang 2 or 3 times a day. If we were lucky, that was a big day, and obviously all that changes as your company grows, and staffing and having staff in the correct positions, doing the correct things and really focusing on what they're good at. That was definitely probably my biggest struggle is getting those people in the correct positions for them to actually succeed.
Yep.
And, I'm happy to say I think I got the right people in the right spots.
Yeah, you've got a great group of people over there for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's, if there's one thing I'm good at, it would be making sure the right people are in the right places within my company.
Absolutely.
And it's, other than that, I'm trying to improve my golf game.
There you go. Hopefully we get to swing some good clubs here this afternoon.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, when it comes, so you brought up an interesting point. We're going through a big PPO exodus right now, and that's absolutely happening across the country. Yeah. It's really happening here in Wisconsin by our home office.
Well, it's a shift back to what the traditional model should be.
Yeah, back to HMOs. Yeah. But do you think, because you have a lot of your agency and agent partners have good provider relationships, do you feel like having those relationships with those networks ultimately leads to kind of this natural push towards more HMO sales because you're already meeting people who are part of those networks that they know and they trust and they're established, and it makes it easier to kind of give that HMO sell?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you're engaged with a provider group, with a doctor network, whether it be a large provider group or just a small independent primary care physician office.
Yeah.
There really isn't many small primary care physician offices anymore. No. They've all been bought up and put into large groups and all of these. Yeah.
The big conglomerations that are happening.
Private equity is in every industry, including primary care. But within those relationships, when you actually develop those relationships with the doctor's offices, you're going to quickly find out which health plans they actually want their membership. Which carriers do they have the highest quality relationships with? Yes, it can be biased sometimes too. So you got to watch that a little bit, because the doctor's office, if you're doing a bunch of business in LA County specifically. Some
of them want, we need this specific plan.
If they're not on this plan. Yeah, exactly. So it also depends on the market, but most markets across the country, if you have those provider relationships, the providers are going to recommend that they're in HMO plans because they have value-based contracts with these insurance companies.
Yep.
And the value-based contracts that they have with these insurance companies, they're being incentivized to provide quality care, keep these clients out of the hospital, manage their chronic conditions properly. And if they actually provide their members or their patients with quality medical care and they hit their quality metrics, then they qualify for large bonuses. Yeah, and that's the only way they make more money is by hitting quality measures, as opposed to fee-for-service Medicare, where it's just the only way we make more money is just slam as many claims into Medicare as possible.
Well, and fee-for-service Medicare, it seems like the big provider groups that are billing primarily just fee-for-service, or if they have fee-for-service relationship with the carriers, they're billing the carriers for every single thing, and then our clients get left with all these surprise bills at the end. So that's the whole snowball effect of that, of those provider
now, fee-for-service Medicare obviously is a great fit for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
But what I do find in the industry a lot is that especially independent insurance agents, there's no room for bias in our industry. You need to explain the options to the consumer and let them make an educated choice.
Yep.
I see a lot of agents steering, hey, you should be in MedSup because you need the flexibility. They're talking to someone that spends 95% of their time in one geographic area and then go visit their grandkids maybe for 2 weeks out in a separate market.
Right.
You need fee-for-service Medicare.
No.
You don't even offer the other option.
There's still some brokers to this day that either sell either or.
Yep.
There's still some people that are dead set that Medicare Advantage is not a good fit for anyone. And, traditional Medicare with the MedSup plan, that's the way they're going to go. And then you have the opposite end of the spectrum where why would you get a Medicare supplement plan? These Medicare Advantage plans are great.
Yeah. And the brokers that are all focused strictly on the Medicare supplements, they're all like, right, plan N. And I'm like, you're not even capping your client's actual financial risk.
Yeah.
So you're biased towards one product, and then you're selling the cheapest product out of that group,
Right.
and not actually capping financial risk. And I'm like, I think they might have that a little backwards.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting how, and I'm curious. Hopefully one day I'll have a conversation with some of these people that are stuck in that one product mindset. Be like, why do you do it? Like, why is this? What convinced you to have this one product mindset?
Is AHIP really that hard?
It's not. It's not. AHIP comes out June 22nd, by the way. When you look back on the decisions and things that you've done with RMA over the years, what is one or two of those big decisions that you made that had the biggest positive impact on your business?
The first one that pops in my head, when the decision that I made was to stay loyal to one distribution agency, and a lot of my competition and the reason why we're winning is because they're just so unstable and they're just bouncing around. They bounce around to an integrity partner, and then they go over here, and then they bounce over here, and then, these local FMOs keep moving their top level distribution, and that creates instability for their downline agents. That creates, hey, we have to learn new tools. Hey, you have all these new broker logins. You got to figure out, hey, I need you to sign these new contracts.
Yeah.
And so, I've seen a lot of my competition make that mistake where they're like, hey, the grass is greener, right? The grass is greener over here. I'm going to just move over here, and then everything's going to be golden, and all my problems will be magically solved. And it's like, no, stability, long-term partnerships with the people that, are invested in you. That's been one of my biggest decisions, is staying loyal, and not jumping from one hierarchy to another hierarchy, and since we launched in 2019, we've had no contract changes. We stay loyal because we understand your tools. We like your tools. And we can train on your tools, because I used to train on your tools.
Yep.
And so having that stability in hierarchy levels, across the board since 2019, and no changes there, has helped me continue to not slow down. But then also, getting out of my own way. My company really didn't start growing until I stopped being involved in everything.
You had to step back a little bit.
No, I mean, honestly, we saw explosion in growth in year one. I was in the right place at the right time. I spoke with the right people. I did the right things. Maybe somebody was looking out for me. A couple people, thank you, were looking out for me that first year. And I did that by myself, but that second year, we started bringing on people. Brittany Ching came in first and ran the company there for a short time as we scaled up, and then we brought in Luis, we brought in some younger guys, and here recently I hired Michelle Burris to come in and be the CEO and actually run the company.
Yep.
And so now I can just take a step back, and the company's running. The leads that are generated are being worked properly. The day-to-day tasks are being taken care of. And now I can take a step back and just look and say, okay, where are we deficient?
Yep.
Okay. So I know right now, right, with the staffing that I have, I'm deficient in two categories. Financial. I don't have a CFO, somebody that handles the books.
Yep.
And field recruiter. I don't have somebody that can consistently be in the field doing maybe CE recruitment seminars or something for distribution growth. And so since I was able to take a step back and see that I'm deficient in those two areas, now I can focus on those two areas.
Yeah, you
it's
can
like,
take care of it.
Hey, field recruitment, lead generation for my sales team, very, very important. And obviously, I don't know how, but the financial stuff just kind of second nature to me. I'm not sure how that worked out. I watched enough YouTube videos. I don't know. People ask me, have you had coaches? I'm like, well, I watch a lot of reels.
I do a lot of scrolling on Instagram.
It's like, and then I'm like, hey, maybe if you update your Instagram algorithm a little bit to sales tricks and financial tips and all these things, as opposed to just whatever you're actually looking at.
Weird cat videos
or politics or whatever it may be. It's funny. Once my algorithm started changing and it really started just kind of focusing in on business building. I mean, that's all it is. And if I look at my Instagram, it's business building. That is my reels. And man, did my mental health get a lot better too.
Yeah, right.
Holy cow. And when the content I was consuming wasn't just doom and gloom, and
Right.
it was about building business. It's about increase, so it's, those little things that might've been one of the biggest things that I did to build my business as well, is just kind of tuning out things that I don't have control of.
Tune out a little bit, and it gives you the opportunity, like you said, to step back and look at the business and be like, okay, where am I deficient? Where do I need help? And give yourself the grace and the time to really analyze that and make those decisions.
Well, and in this industry too, there's always changes. And if you can properly forecast the change and be in front of it and be prepared for it, you're going to absolutely clean up. As a business owner, if you are struggling on a daily basis just with, email management, with customer service issues, handling the inbound phone calls, if you're just daily grinding and just trying to keep your head above water, when do you have time to really research the industry that you're in and just strictly focus on forecasting futures within your industry? If you really want to be good at this, you need to more or less have a crystal ball.
Right.
I talk about this in some of my presentations, and if you don't have that crystal ball, like last year, we knew what was, we were prepared.
Yep.
There was some surprises. Washington.
Big surprise.
Poor Washington.
I know. Well,
but we knew for the most part, like, hey, as we were training our brokers up, and as we were doing our rollouts, and as we were explaining the changes that were happening in the market, we're like, hey, prepare for this. Make sure you got, so we were able to make those predictions. So our agents were prepared. They went into October knowing exactly who they needed to talk to first. And then they were able to spend the rest of that AEP focusing on generating new business, because they didn't go into October, and then figure it out and panic and try to, no, they were fully prepared going into October, understanding what was going to happen and how to handle it and who to talk to first. And they were actually able to not just retain their book, but also focus on growth.
Yeah, absolutely. For some of the people that may not know what Ryan and I are talking about, we're talking about things that are happening with the commissions, with the carriers, a lot of plans going non-commissionable mid-year, even some carriers making their kind of middle of AEP commission changes and things like that.
Service area
reductions. And it's not news. If this is news for you, then you hear it from us first, but there's going to be some more of that this upcoming AEP. So we're going to see that again. So knowing that these challenges are happening in the industry with your brokers, what are you doing to help them prepare for those things that are coming?
Training and technology. That's a big thing. We have these incredible enrollment platforms, Sunfire or Connecture.
Yep.
We call it My Health Plan.
My Health Plan. Yep.
We have these incredible tools and training on proper CRM technology as well. Because if your data isn't organized and you go into an AEP and you got a book of business that you're trying to retain and you're not organized, you don't have your list of clients in a CRM tool or maybe an enrollment platform that you can just simply say, hey, this H code, run me a list of clients on this H code, and then be able to actually put automations and marketing in. So it's really just about being organized.
Yep.
Because if you're organized and you understand what's going to happen, and hey, this H code is the most effective, not H code. I'm talking in
lingo.
Insurance lingo.
There's the jargon.
Yeah, right. This health plan. This health plan I need to talk to first. So you run yourself a data list, getting prepared for that.
Yep.
But also, it's just plan study. And understanding the other plans in the market. There's a lot of brokers out there that will have a one plan approach, and they think that, hey, I'm going to take this contract with this insurance company. I think, they're the leader in the industry, and I'm going to take this contract with this insurance company, and this is where I'm going to put my business. But that approach does not work in an unstable market.
No.
So you have to be the way you're fully prepared is by having a portfolio of options. Okay. Because if one lever's turned, you still have 7 levers on.
Exactly.
If you've taken the time to do this correctly. If you're one of those folks that was just like, I'll just take that contract. Maybe they don't require AHIP. They're a little easier. Whatever it may be, I'm just going to put my business there.
Yep.
And you suffered.
Yep.
So that's one of the big things is what we do for our brokers is we make sure that they actually have a portfolio of options. We make sure that they have a good marketing strategy, and we make sure that they're actually educated on the changes that are coming up, because I have that time now to do the market research and understand and make those predictions. So in, June, July, September, I can more or less be setting the stage for my agents and saying, hey, this is what we're anticipating to happen. Make sure to have your preparations in place. Make sure you have contracts with these carriers just in case something goes wrong with these. And then also obviously too, there's a lot of agents that lack training on Medicare supplement products.
Mhm.
And there's going to be some rural markets, especially this upcoming year.
Yep.
There's going to be some rural markets that aren't even going to have zero premium or Medicare Advantage available anymore.
Yep.
And so what are we going to do in those markets when agents don't understand? There's no Medicare Advantage. Well, the only med sup I know is Plan G. That Plan G's $330 a month.
Right. Why is it so expensive?
Right. Yeah. Well, it's expensive because it's full coverage and your client's 80. Well, they've been on a zero premium product for all these years. They can't afford that now.
Yep.
What other options do we have available? So, in those, if we have brokers that do business in rural markets, we're making sure they're up to speed and trained on how high deductible products work. We see a carrier with an innovative product, innovative Medicare supplement product, and then understanding how to couple that high deductible with a hospital indemnity. Because if you're able to sell both of those programs, you're taking a commission hit on the high deductible.
Yep.
You are.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you're losing money.
Lower premium, lower commission.
Lower premium, it's simple math.
Yep.
Right? So we have to supplement that because we own businesses, right? We own businesses. We have to be profitable. And we need to protect our clients from the largest gap.
Yep.
And I think that's going to be your Part A.
Yep.
Part A inpatient hospitalization deductible. Because don't forget that resets every 60 days.
Yep.
Yeah. So is training on all the options, right? So if you're in rural markets, you need to understand high deductible products. You need to understand the innovative products in those markets. And if you're in urban markets, you need to have a full portfolio of products and understand those to be properly prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. It gives you the idea or the opportunity to have the full picture of the market too when you have all those contracts there. Certification time may be a little bit more hectic than usual, but the biggest thing is that you're prepared. You know?
Yeah, 100%. I think we're up to 26 certifications we have to take now. Because I think JSA's probably got 40 plus MA carriers across the.
I don't even like to discuss it. It's a lot of certification, and
each market's got their own small regional players, and
it's what's happening with the market. I just looking at it from a national standpoint for the Medicare Advantage carriers is yes, we still have our national players, and yes, they're still available in all the markets they were before, but we're seeing smaller regional carriers come in. And, where they may have taken an inch here and an inch there over the past couple of years or before, now over the past few AEPs, they're taking bigger chunks of that market share. So even in those urban markets, we're seeing kind of the distribution of the MA carriers. Instead of it being like the one or two top carriers, you've got 4 or 5 in a market that are good options for you.
Yeah, it's starting to split up a little bit.
And that's nice.
And I think the big carriers too are starting to realize, especially as the margins tighten, is that not every member in every market is a good fit for them.
Exactly.
We saw some carriers, last 10 years or so, think that they are the insurance company for every American. There is not a single insurance company that is the right fit for every American. I'm sorry to tell you.
No, and
they're all starting to realize that because they're getting all this bad business because they're like, hey, we want everybody. So they're getting the bad business and they're going, oh, well, their doctor's not network and their drugs aren't on formulary. This is going to mess my star ratings up.
Yeah.
It's these are not good fits for us.
We picked up a member right in the middle of a huge claim or a long, ongoing treatment or surgery or service or what have you.
Right.
Yeah, they're starting to get a little bit more savvy when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And it was for years, the Medicare Advantage carriers were only focused on growth.
Yeah.
Like that was the only thing. Like remember?
Well, they're writing blank checks.
They would come to our office and they would tell us the plans and what they're doing this AEP. And it was all about, growth. We're going to do growth here. We're going to do growth here. We're going to expand to these counties. We're going to have the entire state underneath our plan. That's that growth. It worked for a long time. And I think that's why a lot of agents got comfortable with just selling one product. And they got comfortable because the opportunity for the carriers was there, but that's gone.
Yeah.
That's not
the margins are tight.
Margins are too tight and the cost of care is going up and science is in medical science and treatment is advancing faster than the carriers can keep up with costs. So you're seeing a lot of compression on their side. So you got to have all the options available to you.
Yeah, you absolutely do.
Or you're going to sink, No,
100%. Yeah. If you're a one carrier pony, going into this open enrollment period, you're going to struggle strictly because that one carrier that you're partnered with might not even have commissionable products in your market.
Nope.
So you better do your product research, better partner with, find a good local agency that has these contracts or a good national partner, whoever it may be. Call my office. We'll help, and we don't care where you are. we're going to research your market and figure out which plans you need to have,
Mhm.
and we're going to help you.
Yeah, there was in AEPs over the years, there's big swings from this carrier takes the brunt of the business and then their plans get degraded, and then this carrier gets all that business and their plans get degraded. It's almost like
mass rolling.
It's almost like the Medicare supplement switch, where you have the competitive med sup, they get all the business. 24 months later, they take a 20% rate increase, and now you move all that business, you move on to the next one.
All the healthy business moves.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's the Medicare Advantage market is seeing that. So it's very important that agents stay competitive in the space and have that full portfolio. What else would you say that agents need to stay competitive as we look at this upcoming AEP and the years beyond?
Well, I mean, the big thing is community relationships. I mean, the one thing commuters cannot replace and never will replace is human engagement.
Mm-hmm.
Humans like talking to other humans they trust. And if you want to be competitive in the market and and some people have the online advertising figured out, the Medicare 101 webinar funnels, some people have that figured out. But that's not for everybody. If you're not a computer whiz or you don't have people on staff that can really build you quality lead flow through online opportunities, you have to be in the community creating those relationships. And if you are out there and you're creating relationships with influencers in the market, I mean, as we come into this annual enrollment period, the service area reductions are going to occur, plan changes are going to occur, new plans are going to be launched into the market. So there's instability creates so much opportunity if you have your foot in the door with the right people. So, are you talking to the independent living facilities? Are you talking to the financial advisors? Are you building these relationships with all the influencers that seniors speak with currently? And if you are, you're going to be set up in a really good way for this upcoming annual enrollment period, because you're going to have a ton of competition advertising, just traditionally through either online or direct mail. There's a ton of competition.
Yep.
But how much competition are you going to have when a financial advisor chooses you as the agent they're going to refer the business to, and that financial advisor tells their client, "Hey, we see you're turning 65 and getting on Medicare. You need to speak with our Medicare person." And that's a live that's a free lead from their trusted financial advisor.
Nice warm lead.
100% close ratio on this, I can promise you.
Yeah, I would say, like, even with the advancements in technology and, there's more people that are creating Medicare content online. You probably see it in your streams. People talking about MedSup,
especially
Medicare
Facebook
Advantage.
now. Facebook's all Medicare.
Facebook has a ton of Medicare stuff. I've been getting advertisements for our local Medicare 101s here in the area recently, which I thoroughly enjoy watching them. And but even with the advancements in technology, I think agents that are set up in their communities that have those relationships or even working on those relationships now, I think that they're going to be in a better position than they've ever been before.
100%.
And as the world becomes more digital, becomes more online, becomes more AI and technology focused, I think the agencies that have and maintain and are looking to grow that community presence and that personal presence and that face-to-face, I think they're poised for successes they've never seen.
Yeah, if you got a quality brand established in a community, and it could just be a zip code.
Yep.
And I remember I coached this when I first started in this industry, is dominating your backyard.
Yep.
And then if you dominate your backyard and you build your brand within a 5-mile radius of where your office is, doesn't matter if you office out of your garage, who cares? Build a 5-mile radius.
Yep.
And if you dominate that backyard and everybody within that radius is, knows you as the trusted Medicare expert, you're going to do just fine.
Yeah, that's I call that building your castle walls.
Yeah, there you go.
You build your brand in your market. You're building your castle walls. You will own that market.
Yeah, and when you're at your competition, they're going to quickly realize that there's no return investment on any lead purchases in those markets because there's somebody that takes care of that market already. So advertising will come. You'll see a lot less and less and less of it, because if it's not effective, people will stop buying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you don't give the opportunity to your competition to advertise in your market because you're already taking care of it, well, then you're going to see a lot less of competition.
Yeah. So you were going to school to be a civil engineer before you started at JSA.
Yeah. It was just a community college there in Fort Myers, Florida. I moved down from Flint, Michigan. I grew up in Michigan, and my ma had moved to Florida, and I was pouring precast poured walls in Detroit, and then living in a single wide in Flint. And I think my manager at the time in my precast poured walls factory in the worst part of Detroit was yelling at me. And this was my summer. I just graduated high school, and I was getting yelled at in an absolute crap hole factory. And so I packed 3 bags and I moved to Florida, and my mom signed me up for college, and I was always into architectural engineering. As you know, I took trade classes through high school. I won state competitions. You know, it was a really cool part of my life. So I was going to be a civil engineer, and so I started all the preliminary classes. Turns out I think I got a total of 8 college credits. But I found JSA, you know, and I went to work for JSA. And I continued college. I was actually moonlighting as well when I first started. I was selling automotive training videos at night. And I remember Brian giving me crap about that because I was on the phones from 8:30 in the morning until I think it was 10 o'clock at night selling automotive videos to the West Coast when I first started to try to catch up. And, you know, and it was kind of comical because I was going to school to be the civil engineer. You know, my family kind of expected that. And then I got this job in the insurance sales industry. And I remember, I think I started in March, April, or May, somewhere in there, second quarter maybe. And the first time my family got together was Christmas that year. And I remember I was at Christmas dinner. The whole family was there. And I'm like, I'm going to drop out of college and I'm going to focus on insurance sales. I think I found myself a career. And they all just looked and they laughed at me. They laughed. And I'm like, okay, I'll laugh all you. They're not laughing anymore.
Not laughing anymore.
There's not a single laugh no more.
Yeah.
You know, because honestly, the engineering is great and all, but unless you own a huge engineering firm, the revenue opportunity is not significant. You know, you take a job with the city, or you know, you help draw sewers and stuff of that nature. You know, you make
you're on the city planning committee.
Yeah, you're on the city planning committee. You make a couple $100,000 a year. You live a good life, yes, but the opportunity I saw within the insurance industry and the uncapped revenue opportunity. Nobody's laughing anymore.
So mom and dad, if you're watching, just know
that laugh at that Christmas dinner was what more or less drove me to where I am.
The little motivators in life that you never know you're going to have.
That laugh was just on my shoulder. And especially when I launched in 2019 with the, you know, I'm like, I said I was going to make this a career, and I have an opportunity to make my own business now within this industry that I promised myself I was going to achieve at a high level. And, we did it.
And now you own a part of it.
Yeah.
Congrats,
we got ourselves a little chunk.
Yeah.
We continue to carve a little bit more, a little bigger chunk, a little bigger chunk.
Little bigger chunks for sure.
And, the growth, you know, is really incredible to see, because one of the best things about being in the Medicare market, you know, obviously we sell multiple lines of products, you know, simplified whole issue life insurance, annuities, you know, life and annuities, IFP, you know, Obamacare plans. If it's health insurance or life and annuities, you know, we sell it all, but you know, our main revenue source comes from Medicare. And, you know, one of the biggest things about the Medicare market is it's compounding revenue. Because as long as you maintain your book of business and you continue to produce at the same level annually, you're guaranteed a 20% revenue increase year over year. I mean, guaranteed if you don't have any growth. And that's just because of the renewal revenue that you're generating for your agency. So, hey, I wrote 100 policies this year. Well, I get the renewal on that 100 next year, and I'm going to write 100 more. You know, so you have that guaranteed increase in revenue. It turns out banks really like that too. And so if you need funding and you're able to show that, and you're like, hey, you know,
this is the revenue growth.
It makes it really easy for you to be able to raise capital if necessary, to get yourself a little longer runway for rapid expansion if you want to be completely crazy. Which I went a little crazy. So I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
I went a little crazy, and then I got the hell out of the way.
Exactly. And you made a great decision too, of just kind of stepping aside and letting the business, I mean, you set the business up, you got great people, you set the business up to be successful. So
yeah, if you got the right people in the right places, it's your job to set the direction and then fill the holes. You know, I set the direction. Yes, I have final say. Of course I have final say, in especially in how money is spent, or, you know, we're still small enough to where I approve whether or not we're going to hire someone or something. eventually we'll be at the point where they'll have their departments and they'll have their budgets in their departments, and then they'll be able to just use their budgets.
Yep.
But we're not there yet. I need a CFO for that, and I don't have one. So we're not there yet. So I have to more or less, play that role. So it's those little things. I was able to take a step back, see what we're deficient in, and then I can make sure to bring us up to speed in that, because when I took a step back and started realizing, I'm like, oh shoot, we haven't done any training for our agents on med subs in 2 years.
Right. It's almost like you forget about med subs.
Yeah, you kind of, because there's, and it's not that we don't like Medicare supplement products. I mean, they're a great fit for a huge portion of our population. The set it and forget it. We don't care what the premium are, folks. And there's a ton of those individuals. A
lot of them.
And they're not just all high net worth individuals either.
No.
A lot of the high net worth individuals want the zero premium products because they see the savings there.
They see the savings and they're pinching pennies.
Yeah, they're cheap. That's why they're rich.
Yep, exactly. That's why they're high net worth. For sure. Yeah, the common misconception in the market is that everybody who's a high income earner is a Medicare supplement client. No, that's not the case.
No, if you explain both options to them and they're healthy and they're relatively healthy, and higher net worth individuals typically are a little bit healthier because they've made really quality life choices and they've invested in themselves. And that's how they got into where they are. So they're, more active and, things of that nature. And so they see these Medicare Advantage plans with these extra benefits and a zero premium. And the way I show it is, hey, med sup, so you got to look at the premiums over 10 years because you take 2 increases a year.
Yep.
It's $25,000 over 10 years in premiums, right? So set it and forget it. You're going to pay $25,000 over the next 10 years. You got a full coverage health insurance product. Or cafeteria style, zero premium, pay as you go, max out of pocket.
Yeah. If you have a bad year, here's the cap on your
If you have a bad year, here's your absolute worst financial situation you could be in. And if you hit that once and survive, you did good, because it's hard to hit a max out of pocket.
It's very hard to hit a max out of pocket.
But to justify the $25,000 over here, you have to hit that max out of pocket 5 times over a 10-year period.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so savvy financial people will look at that and go, oh, well, that's the obvious option.
Yeah.
That's the obvious choice.
This makes sense.
But other savvy financial people will go, oh gosh, I don't even want to think about that. Set me, forget it. I don't care. I just want to be able to go where I want, when I want, not think about it. But then you get the middle income folks too. Lower income folks are not set for Medicare supplement typically. If you're lower income, on the line of Medicaid or on Medicaid, med sup is not an option for these folks because they can't afford it. But the middle income people typically are the ones that choose that med sup.
Yeah, because they like the stability.
They like the stability.
Yep.
Typically they've had the same job. Maybe they worked within the same job for 50 years and they've just retired, and they were on the same group product for 50 years and they just retired, and now so you can't be biased. You need to learn how to present the client the options and help them make an educated decision. Because if you are biased, there's too much competition in this market. If you're biased and you're only selling a one option approach, I'll replace that business.
Well, and even, the goal of anybody who's working in the Medicare space is to be an advisor.
Yeah.
You want to advise your clients on the options that are out there. You want to advise them on what's going to be the best product for them based on their actual lifestyle, not your own biases, but their actual lifestyle. And in order to be an advisor, you have to offer all the options.
Oh, 100%.
You can't call yourself an advisor if you're just going to sell one product or one kind of product.
No, yeah.
You got to do more than that.
You need to be unbiased, and you need to be able to properly explain both options and have multiple choices for both of those options. And it's they've made it so easy for us now. We have these remember when we had to carry around those provider directories and the hard copy formularies?
Oh yeah.
Hard copy,
yeah.
We would have agents come visit the office to come pick up sales supplies, and they would have to bring their pickup trucks with them.
We would. They would ask for a provider directory, and for a while the carriers printed them, but we'd give it to them and it'd be like this thick.
Yeah,
This thick. It weighs 5 pounds. It's
yeah,
like, there you go.
You can get 2 per plan, and I was like, oh goodness. But yeah, it's so easy now because now you could bring your iPad as long as you're contracted, certified, and ready to sell. And if you're partnering with a quality FMO partner, the contracting and certification process should not be hard.
No.
Because if you have a good upline, they're going to help you through that process. They're going to follow up with you. They're going to hold you accountable to actually doing what you're. The biggest problem we have with agent contracting is the agents not actually doing the contracting.
Right. Yeah. We've got the process down to a science.
Yeah. We have it down to a science. It's like, hey, we'll walk you through it, but you got to open the email first,
Well, in the technology standpoint, I deal with a lot of that internally at JSA, looking at the different technologies and training people on how to use it and things like that. Like my health plan has been probably one of the greatest investments that we've ever done
Oh my
at
goodness.
JSA, partnering with Connecture to have that enrollment platform. And
Absolutely life-changing.
And now with that, we have active analytics behind it. And that's a huge benefit too, especially as we come into the annual enrollment period.
Well, and we're going to come into this annual enrollment period, and these insurance companies too. Remember, they're now being incentivized on quality.
Yeah.
Right. And so they have to hit their quality measures.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing platforms like Sunfire partner with these insurance companies to build out additional tools in their tools for agents to qualify for, those HRA bonuses and things of that nature. And we got some training coming down the pike later. Big national carriers doing that for us.
Mm-hmm.
So now these insurance companies are able to integrate with these third-party enrollment platforms to actually build out quality measures and making sure they're capturing the data they need to before the enrollment's submitted.
Exactly.
To hit, because if they don't, if you're a 3.5-star plan in the market next year, good luck.
Yeah, usually
good luck.
It hasn't matched up perfectly. It all depends on the market, but usually those 3.5-star or lower rated carriers, those are the ones that we're getting the notices mid-year. This plan's no longer commissionable. And
good
then
luck
a couple
next
months
year
later, hey, this plan's gone off the market. You're going to have to move everybody.
Before the IRA, before all this legislation that tightened these margins that happened in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
They didn't care.
No, it was about quantity.
Yeah, it was
like the goal of all the carriers back then was quantity.
Yeah,
like, how do we get the most amount of membership as possible?
100%, because they're just getting blank checks.
Yep,
didn't matter.
Yep,
it's like, hey, everyone was upcoding. And they say they have 15 chronic conditions. Turns out, so we need max CMS reimbursement, and they were able to do that.
Yeah,
and they got away with it. And CMS wasn't enforcing their own rules.
No.
And so, and for years, and because they wanted these carriers to grow, you know what I mean? And they're supporting entrepreneurship.
Yep.
Because not only are the carriers growing, but the independent insurance agencies are also growing as well.
Yep.
But now blank checks are not being written.
Nope.
Margins are getting tight and really tight to the point where if it's a 3.5-star, good luck next year.
Yeah. It's going to be very difficult. Yeah. Well, they did make some changes to the star rating requirements.
Yeah.
They got rid of 13 measurements that really shouldn't have been in there in the first place. So
the administrative measurements.
Yeah. So they're making some positive changes on that front. One of the carriers, Clover Health, just won a lawsuit, and that could impact a lot of the other carriers. So the carriers, this market is very interesting because you have the government and their motivators and who's in their ear helping them change policy and directions and rulemaking and things like that. Then you have the carriers, and you have all the math that they have to do because it's essentially a big math problem for the carriers.
Yeah.
How are we going to sustain this business? How are we going to grow? And then those two things are happening. And then you have the Medicare beneficiary who's supposed to stay on top of it. That's why we're important.
Yeah.
That's why agents are important. And that's why I don't think any amount of technology or AI is ever going to replace what we do for agents.
We're in the human connection business. Computers cannot replace human connection.
Nope.
They're not humans.
Nope, they're not humans. They're programmed by humans, but that's about it.
They're programmed by humans. There's two industries in this world that are going to be completely safe from technology takeover, and that's the trades.
Yep.
Okay. So someone has to be able to build things, and that's sales.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, everything else can be done by a computer, honestly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Well, we've had a long partnership together. You guys are killing it out in Colorado. You're expanding your footprint. I know you were just up in the Pacific Northwest.
Yep.
Looking back through all the years and all the different things that you've done, I know a little bit about the answer to this question, but what has JSA helped you do with it when it comes to your business?
Oh my goodness.
I know it's a loaded one.
Well, everything. Honestly, you think about it. Josh Schrader bought me my first iron. I didn't when I first started. Honestly, I was a kid. I came in. And you take the button-up shirts out of the package, right? And it's got that cardboard in it. So it's got the cardboard creases, right? And I would come into the office with those cardboard creases. And I didn't think any of that, and then I would wear undershirts that would match my shirt instead of just having the white on. Like, I didn't know it. I didn't know how to be a professional, but really the biggest part with the JSA partnership is your admin team. My staff, Brenna, Brittany, Michelle, Louise, they're on the phone with your admin team almost if it's during business hours,
right.
They're on the phone with the admin team, actively working together to make sure contracting is in the right place. following up on new business, all these different things. And so
Mhm.
your admin team is huge, but having the technology that I don't have to pay for because you already do, the CSG license
Mhm.
for med sub quoting, hospital indemnity quoting, final expense quoting, I don't have to pay for that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All the recorded training content, the JSA Pro Shop, the Connecture and the Sunfire licenses.
Mhm.
Again, I don't have to pay for those.
Mm-mm.
Thank goodness. Because I've seen Connecture fees.
They're pretty expensive.
Whew.
Yeah.
Thank God you guys got that private equity money.
Yeah. Well, thank God we made a commitment to have those things.
Yeah, you did,
available
and
to
you
our
guys
agents,
never pulled back.
and
on
it was
either.
it was non-negotiable. That
Yeah.
stuff to us is non-negotiable.
Well, and again, you guys have never pulled back. And my motto in my business, and my staff is very, very aware of this, is you don't overpromise and underproduce.
Mm-mm.
And that's and I learned that culture from the Schrader family.
Mhm.
And that's still, even though the Schraders aren't as involved in JSA as they once were, that culture is still ingrained with the company.
Yep.
So it's not like, hey, yes, we have this tool. Ooh, well, we can't afford it anymore. We're going to pull that back.
Yeah, it's not available.
We're going to start seeing that as well across the
Mhm.
industry and in distribution.
Mhm.
People the margins are tightening.
Yep.
And so people are going to have to start pulling back levers. And I don't see that happening with JSA because you guys have done it right.
What kind of goals do you have for RMA in the future? What are you looking forward to over the next couple of years?
Well, the next couple of years, I got some big, we got some big goals. Obviously, revenue targets are extremely important. That's funny.
Mhm.
A lot of people grade themselves on app goals. Doesn't matter how many apps
App counts,
you write.
yeah.
Who cares how many apps you write?
Right.
It's, did you hit your revenue target?
Mhm.
Or did you just write 800 apps and lose 400 clients out the back door and just, increase your revenue by this much?
Did you work all AEP and your revenue didn't move?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, good job writing 800 apps. You made $0 extra dollars.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. So, hitting revenue targets, that's probably my biggest thing. And this is one of the coolest things about this insurance industry is that we all have the same opportunity for huge financial targets or financial exits. I don't see myself exiting the industry. I see myself as setting this company up for my next generation.
Mhm.
I got a 8-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter that I think would very much like the opportunity to run a company one day. And I think I would much rather want to provide them that opportunity to do that
Mhm.
than take $50 million, but it'd be hard to turn down.
What's the saying? Everyone's got a price.
Everyone's got
a price.
If we hit 10 million in EBITDA and I get a 50 million offer, I'll have a talk with the kids.
Listen, guys, we have to have a chat right now.
No, yeah, I think they would understand.
Yep.
I bet you they would.
They would. And if not, you'll teach them over
Yeah.
time. They're still young yet.
Yeah, but we have our financial targets. Growth. Yeah, obviously, growth. In order to hit financial targets, you have to grow.
Mhm.
You have to continue to onboard new agents. You have to come up with new, incentives. We actually don't write any personal production out of our office at all. We don't compete with our brokers in any way. So we are just specifically focused on creating distribution and helping grow agencies.
Yep.
Creating opportunities for those agents. One of the biggest things about that is working with an agency that isn't competing with you is when the opportunities come in from the carriers, they're actually distributed to the agents and not kept in the internal team, which we see quite a bit in the industry as well. So we make sure to distribute all, and honestly, we give the green light, or I think we're one of the only FMOs that are carrier reps in our market, are able to just have direct conversations with brokers to distribute opportunity.
Yep.
As opposed to, hey, don't talk to my agents.
Yeah, they want to be the gatekeeper.
Yeah, they want to be the gatekeeper and they want to gatekeep those opportunities so they can sell them to their agents as to why they need to be loyal to them is because, hey, I gave you this up. No, you didn't. You just didn't let the carrier rep talk to me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something we've always encouraged. Like the carrier rep you should know your carrier
You should know,
reps.
you should be having coffee with your carrier reps at least once a month.
Yeah. That's why we do all these events with the carrier reps.
Yeah.
Like, get to know these people.
Get to know these are salespeople that are hired by these insurance companies to specifically grow production.
They're going to support you.
They're going to support you.
That's their job.
That's literally their only job is to support the broker channel to increase sales. And so if you have a quality relationship with these folks, they're going to create opportunity for you and they're going to help you grow your business.
Absolutely. What excites you most about the future?
It excites me most about the future? A private island. It's really exciting. No, I'm kidding. What excites me the most is more or less just having the opportunity. And again, every insurance agent, every insurance agency owner, every FMO owner, we all have the same opportunity, and that's to create a legacy.
Yep.
And I mean, it's something that most industries don't really give.
Mm-mm.
You know, I mean, I think we may be in one of the only sales industries in the world that have residual renewal in it.
Mm-hmm.
So to be able to build a legacy of actual guaranteed annual renewal for my future generations, I think is,
the sky's the limit.
Tears you up a little bit.
Sky's well, and it goes to show, like as long as you work hard, you stay open to opportunities, you continuously learn. I mean, there's so much opportunity in this space.
So much, you know, and again, some carriers got to pull levers, but there's also so many other levers that are open.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the biggest pitfalls that I see brokers have, especially in an unstable market, there's always panic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, well, if you're a business owner and you're focused on the negative, you know, focused on a problem, is that growing your business?
No, you're going to get the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the, somehow, I don't know how I was able to develop this technique, you know, true blessing is I am a 100% solution focused individual. I don't see the problem. I don't see a problem. All I see is what I know to be the solution to that problem. And I exclusively focus on that.
Yep.
And I tell you what, it's pretty good for your mental health.
Keeps you in the right mindset.
Yeah, sure does.
It makes everything.
There's a solution to every problem.
There's a solution to every single problem.
And if there's not, guess what? It's probably not your problem.
It's probably not your problem,
Mm-hmm.
or you just haven't met the person that's going to help you find the solution.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to keep yourself open.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming to hang out with me for a little bit.
That was fun.
It was fun. I look forward to hopefully a good afternoon of golf here. Thanks, everyone, for joining us as well. Ryan Murchie, great story. One of our best partners here at JSA. And congratulations again on your success. And
thanks, buddy.
Look forward to having this conversation in a couple of years. What do you say?
Whoop, whoop. We've come a long way from those cubicles.
We have come a long way from those cubicles. All right, man. Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Bye.